The topic I'm going to discuss now is determinants of price elasticity of demand, or we may call it factors that affect price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity, before discussing about the determinants or factors of price elasticity of demand, let's have a look on its formula. That was percentage change in quantity demand divided by percentage change in price. So price elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of quantity demand to changes in prices. So there are multiple situations in which change in price has different effect on quantity demand. Sometimes when we change price with little proportion, and it leads to a greater change in quantity demand, that is called elastic demand, and demand curve becomes flatter, relatively flatter, as shown by D. And on the other hand, sometimes we change price with greater ratio, but it results in smaller change in quantity demand, so demand curve becomes relatively steep as D1. And sometimes when we change the price and we get the same response in change in quantity demand, so demand curve becomes hyperbola as shown with D2. And on the other hand, sometimes we have the relationship between change in price and quantity demand as shown with D3. It shows that there is no change in price, but still quantity demand is changing. And on the other hand, when demand curve is perfectly inelastic, demand curve would be D4, and it shows that change in price has no impact on quantity demand. So now we can see that what are the factors that make demand elastic or inelastic. And the first factor is nature of product. Nature of product can be like habit forming good, it can be primary product, it can be perishable good, it can be basic necessity or luxury. We will see each and every situation. Next factor that affects price elasticity of demand is time period. Time period can be short or long. And the third factor is number of substitutes of a product. Number of substitutes are the alternative products, and number of substitutes can be greater or smaller. Next point is proportion of income or percentage of income spent on a certain product. So there can be different percentages which are spent on different products. First of all, we can see the nature of product. Nature of product can be basic necessity, primary product, or we can call it or it can be habit forming good. And on the other hand, we may have a product which is considered as luxury, or it may be considered as a durable product, long lasting product, or it can be a manufactured good. Basic necessities, habit forming goods, or perishable goods have elasticity less than 1, so we call it less elastic demand, and or we call it inelastic demand. Mean a larger change in price will lead to a smaller change in quantity demand in case of basic necessities, because we cannot skip them. Luxury goods have elastic demand because these are not basic necessities, we can survive without them, and if their price is low we can purchase more, if their price is high we can decrease their demand. Time period is the next factor. Time can be short or long. Short period is a very smaller time when you have to take decision about purchase of product, so demand is inelastic. And on the other hand, in long period of time you have elastic demand. In short run, when you have very less time period to take decision, for example, if you have to reach the examination center and you are left with only 30 minutes and it takes 30 minutes to reach there, then you will not negotiate with the taxi driver, you will pay it whatever the price he is asking. But if you have long time, you can find out some other alternative if the initial alternative is charging high price. Substitutes is the next factor. Substitutes can be large in number or small in number. If large number of close substitutes is available in the market, substitutes are similar products which can replace each other. So if there is large amount of substitutes available in the market, then demand will be elastic, and if there are less number of substitutes, then demand would be inelastic. Mean when substitutes are less substitutes are available, then you might be rigid in demanding that product. And another situation can be there is no substitute for the product. When there is no substitute for a product, then its demand would be perfectly inelastic. Like in Pakistan, we can see that WAPDA is the only electricity seller in Pakistan, so we don't have any other option. We have to purchase electricity from WAPDA in each case. If price is really high, we will still keep on buying from it. The last factor is proportion of income spent on the product. And proportion of income spent on product can be small or large. If small percentage of income is spent on a product, then its demand would be inelastic, and inelastic or less elastic, because it doesn't matter for us if there is a small rise in price, we will continue purchasing it. And in case of large percentage of income spent on a product, will make product elastic, because if 5% of income is spent on a product, then rise in price does not affect our budget a lot. But if 80% of income is already being spent on a certain product, then a little change in its price will affect us, and we will change our decision. Now have a look on these MCQs and write in comment box if you have the issues. If you can find the right answer, then you can put the right answer in comment box.